Hey everybody, it's your girl Sherry. Welcome back to Alleged Actually Podcast. Today is Wednesday, so tonight we're going to be talking all things 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. And I am joined, I'm not even going to say guest host. I am joined with my host tonight, Big Nige. Big Nige, what's up?
Yeah, I know we took a little week off to, for the last two episodes. We got a lot of great stuff for you guys today. Glad to be back as always. I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got 2 episodes to review for you guys, and so we're going to get into it. But I always just want to do real quick before we do that. I want you guys to go ahead and give us the thumbs up. So go ahead and like this live, comment, subscribe if you haven't, hit that notification bell, and share, share, share. So, Big Nige, episodes. We're almost coming toward to the end of the season, and so we're starting to see some more traction on the couples. And we are going to kick it off tonight with Shekinah and Sarper. So what you think?
Yeah, so Shekinah and Sarper, they're picking off obviously after Shekinah goes into her surgery for her, fixing her nose.
Yeah.
Um, and it starts off with Sarper kind of like, still kind of in panic mode, saying, I hope she's going to be okay. And,
Mm-hmm.
still kind of giving that energy of like he's very concerned about her. So then we get to see her in the hospital bed, and she looks rough.
She
And
did.
I
Woo.
mean, if you guys haven't seen it and you are planning on watching, not this previous episode that just passed, but the one before, titled Daughter of the Bride, it's a little graphic, so I would brace yourself because she does look a little rough, and it's rightfully so, coming out of
Yeah.
surgery.
Yeah.
Um, but we see more of Sarper being about what he says. He's practicing what he's preaching. He's catering
Mm-hmm.
to her, helping her with her recovery. Walking up and down the hospital with her. Serving her food, doing all the right things. I'm not seeing any Sarper hate in this episode. So
No.
they didn't make an appearance in the most recent episode, Donna Mia. So where their story ends for these last two episodes, Sarper's in full mom mode. It's touching Shekinah's heart. Touches my heart as a viewer too,
It
seeing
was
him
touching.
cater to his woman like that. Um, and yeah, it looks good for them so far. And we'll see what happens next. And this is definitely doing a really good thing for Shekinah and Sarper.
I agree. I said the last time we were on, uh, it was my unpopular opinion, but it looks like they are actually growing as a couple. Sarper seems to be getting it. He took good care of her, y'all. I mean, what are you gonna say? Sarper's stepping up. So we'll have to watch and see, but it's looking good for Shekinah and Sarper. So now let's talk about our next couple. Wasn't a whole lot on them in the last couple episodes, but we're gonna go next with Joanne and Sean. Big Nige, what was going on with Joanne and Sean?
So Joanne and Sean, they didn't make an appearance on the first episode, first one that we missed. They made more of a grand appearance on the most recent episode, Donna Mia. And me, we were talking about this before we were recording. Trying to make sense of the title of the most recent episode. Now I did my little research and I found out like Donna Mia, it signals for my woman.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, since Joanne's mom is a very dominant personality, it makes sense to start the episode there. So, pretty much, they get on Zoom. Sean and Joanne, it's like, it's time for you to meet my mom. You met my kids. You met my best friend. Time to meet mom. Um, and it opens up. Donna's like, you're my son-in-law now, and I'm just meeting you. Again, she's already kind of coming in hot. Sean just kind of cool and reserves, like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean no disrespect, but it's just kind of how it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so pretty much after that, she asked Sean if he's gonna take her daughter and grandkids, away from her. And does his plans to take Joanne and the boys, you know, away out of the states. And he pretty much didn't have an answer because he doesn't have an answer himself. They did
Nope.
not. He just continued to tell her they did not think this far out. So he can't give her an accurate answer because he doesn't know, nor does Joanne know. They're still going through these things. We get a little bit of insight on what's been going on with the boys after they got back in the States. I'll start with Jesse since he's the young one. Shout out to the babies of the families because I'm right there. And he had a very, very like-minded response that I would, and it was more like, yeah, yeah, Sean was cool. We love playing soccer together. Hopped right on the video games and kind of just blurted it all out. Um, but then we get over to Joey, the more, you know, I guess you could say hot-headed, more calculated of the brothers. He's been very quiet about his feelings. Not too much said to the grandma. Hasn't been responding to Joanne's texts or calls.
Nope.
Kind of concerning. I'm not gonna lie. He played it off pretty well when they were together, but it's the fact that now that there's some space apart, he's going ghost. And I know you can speak to this better than I can, but I know as a mother, that's got to be weighing on Joanne. Um, and so because of that, it's starting to cause a little bit of a rift between the couple, just like Joanne's like kind of going back to mom mode. Like, if I can't get my son to communicate with me, I'm on the first plane back, no questions asked.
Yep.
Rightfully. Um, so the conversation between Donna and Joanne and Sean kind of ends with her posing a question to Sean, saying, what can you offer my daughter? And that's again a very good question to ask as a
Sure
mother,
is.
as a concerning parent. What can you offer my daughter that she doesn't already have? He could not give an answer. And I was shocked about that because, again, that the mom, you're about to have a deep conversation with the mom. He even admitted being nervous about it. But again, if you don't have the answers, that's not a good showing, man. That's not a good first step when meeting somebody's parents, to just be like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, again, it's very telling, and we understand that there's a lot of things that they have to really sit down and fully figure out before they can really have their happily ever after, like Sean wants and Joanne.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, for me, it's the same thing I've been saying since we started on this season. My biggest problem with Joanne was exactly what has happened right before our eyes. The fact that she did not take her boys into consideration when she married Sean, when she has this plan to move them to Ireland without talking to them, particularly, her sons are of age. The older son, Joey, is not feeling it. And look, little too late. Even if she was to go running back home, I'm sure that her son feels like, you really chose this man over us because you put that before us. You didn't give us any input, any say. I mean, he's a nice guy, but I mean, look, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying all along. As a mother, that's something you would sit your children down and make sure they were good with that before you would ever. And so that was my big beef with Joanne. Now it's coming back to bite her. And, from her mom's perspective, when she poses the question to Sean about, what can he do for her? Basically, what he can do for her is offer her love and companionship. And that's all well and good, but is it enough? Because if you have your son that now has had some time and some space to think about, I'm certain he feels betrayed, and he feels like, again, that she put this man over them, and with very little thought to their well-being and their care. And so it's not a good feeling for her sons, particularly the older one. The younger one, he's younger, it really doesn't hit him the same way. But her older son, I know that hurts. So I lost a I have started off with very little respect for Joanne in that manner. Once I saw them together, I saw the potential that it could work, but the way they went about it, that's what I've always said. So we're going to keep watching, but just what I told you guys, because I'm a mom and I know it could not be me and it would not be mine. So there you have it. All right, we're going to move on next to Dempsey and Statler. Y'all, I said before again, those were my that was my favorite couple. And I'm watching them just fall apart right before my eyes. It is sad to watch. What do you think, Big Nige?
So yeah, they made more of a appearance on Daughter of the Bride. So definitely, if you want to see more of them, go check them out in the second to last recent episode. But so we get into Dempsey and Statler. We get to see their van life. We get to see how are things going on a day-to-day basis, and of course, not good.
Nope.
This is Statler's first day back at work, And there's already concerns about the Wi-Fi. So immediately, what Statler does, like she always has been doing, she's panicking, she's stressing, she's like, man, we need these things. If I can't work, there's no money,
Yeah.
and she's voicing all these concerns all at once, might I add, on Dempsey. And the carefree, happy go lucky Dempsey is just goes from a bright smile, ready to, explore France to like, ah man, we just got in here, we've been good. Now you're telling me we need all these things. To Dempsey's point, she waited like 2 weeks
She
prior
did.
to Statler starting her first day back. You're telling me 2 weeks right before your first day back that you need this adapter, that you need these chargers, that you need all this stuff for work.
I agree.
I can't defend Statler on this one. You had
I
plenty of
can't either.
time. You had many of pit stops, gas stations,
You should have
electronic stores,
checked on
whatever
that.
you needed to get. You could have
Yep.
gotten that stuff, and you waited last minute. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not on Dempsey.
No.
But Dempsey did decide to go into town and appease it. It did cause a little riffraff between them, which caused Dempsey to kind of like, again, she is really questioning her commitment to this relationship because she's not used to it, right? And we get they kind of go into break from that couple, kind of, you know, Statler says her piece about Dempsey being happy-go-lucky, not realizing the magnitude of no Wi-Fi, no work means no money. And since you're not bringing any money, I feel like you need to have more of an elevated awareness
Yeah.
to my situation because this is how we're getting food on the table. And I
Yeah.
and I understand that.
Yeah.
And then we see Dempsey's side of things again. She just feels cornered, feels pestered, so she's annoyed, and she goes and is like, "Okay, you're gonna send me into town to go do these things. I'm gonna go into town, enjoy myself, and then I'll get those things for you." And that's a little bit of a spitefulness on both
Hey.
sides. But then we kind of, again, and Statler again talks about, is Dempsey all talk? Is she really about what she's saying? Then we get into a little heartfelt moment. She gets back from having her nice time in France, and then she brings Statler her items and hops right into the kitchen and starts cooking.
Yeah.
That that was definitely a kind gesture for sure, especially on how things ended in that conversation previously. But she makes them a nice little meal. Statler's kind of like, oh man, like I kind of feel bad for kind of snapping at her. She did things I asked, and she came home and cooked dinner, no questions asked. Um, and because of that, Dempsey broke down. It was definitely a shocking uh, turn of events, nonetheless. But she said that all of it was overwhelming. She has to adjust living the van life with
Yeah.
Statler because she's used to showering, eating, sleeping whenever,
Yep.
you
She
know,
wants.
at the beat of her own drum.
Yeah.
But that's just not going to work with a partner like Statler. So she really has to look in and really dig deep for this relationship. And kind of, they're going to have to compromise on both sides if they are going to be successful in this relationship. We're starting to see a little bit of give and take, but to what end? Is
Yeah.
Dempsey going to be okay with all the sacrifices that she's going to have to make? And by extension, is Statler going to be okay in the van life? Is she going to be able to find some way to address some of these, ailments and these stressors in her mind where it doesn't fall all in Dempsey's lap like it's been
Hmm.
doing in these previous problems that they've had? So we got to wait and see on that. But it does my heart good that they're at least finding ways to work through the issues without screaming matches.
Agreed. I think though, what I find hypocritical on both of their parts is they seem to be resentful of the other for the very thing that they signed up for. Um, you have Statler who decided that since she can work anywhere remotely, that she was going to be the breadwinner, and Dempsey was going to be the one that took care of all of the van life since it was her idea. And so when it came down to it, it's time for Statler to work. Statler makes the comment, yeah, I gave my boss my new schedule. I'll be working straight for 30 days. Look, that was the agreement, ladies. Dempsey's like, oh God, I've been driving for days and now you want me to go run and do these. Well, that was the agreement, Dempsey. You're not footloose and fancy free to go traipsing around town. I mean, until it gets to that point, there's an adjustment that they both have to make. And I think, honestly, both of them, both of them are honestly resenting the other for the very thing that they agreed and signed up for. And living in that small space, navigating having to live in a mobile van the way they are, it sacrifices on both part. And it's just going to be kind of more of whether they decide that the sacrifices are worth it, because they both have to do them for it to work. So we'll just have to keep watching my favorite couple of the season and see if they're even a couple when it's done. So now, y'all, we're going to move over to Corona and Ingy. Yeah, let's talk about that crazy, crazy couple. What do you have to say on them, Big Nine?
Yeah, I don't have much. I have a few things. Obviously, so the episode Donna Mia, in terms of this relation, this couple, it starts with Corona with her friends that she made. I think in her last visit to Iceland, um, and they're at the Winky Museum, and you know, take that as you will. Definitely an interesting experience, sure. Um, but she begins to kind of unpack what a lot of people do when they get up with their friends. They catch up and gossip, and she's been kind of spilling the beans on old Ingy.
Hmm.
Um, and she tells them that he doesn't really gas her up. He doesn't give her the attention that she feels she needs. He doesn't take these, conversations, especially when we get into the next part, very seriously. He's still carefree, casual, and it's starting to kind of rub her the wrong way. She also touches on the lack of intimacy. In the past year, only 4 times of being intimate together. She said that's partly her fault. His Winky is broken. So I don't know how that happens, nor do I want to know, but I've never heard of that happening. I guess I'm too young to understand all that, so I'm gonna just leave that alone.
Yeah,
Um,
let's just.
but they to her knowledge, they became exclusive 6 months ago, and this kind of starts bringing the alarm bells up to her friends because they were like, we see him at this club that we go
Hmm.
to talking to other females. So
Hmm.
of course the tenants start popping up, ears start perking, and her mind kind of goes wild. She keeps the rage in front of her friends. It's like, nope, I'm fine, I'm okay. But we all know, especially the lion that she's said that she's tamed and will not show Ingy for his safety, it's starting to growl a little bit. And that's kind of where it ends on the first part of that episode. Kind of casual vibe. And the second part comes through. Now we get so Corona and Ng go on a date. This is actually the place that they had their first date. It's a nice place. They were throwing darts. Look, they had a nice bar in the background and probably some decent food that was in there from what I could see.
Yeah.
But it was time to unpack some of the things they were starting to. So Corona brings up the hey, like my friend said that you were talking to other girls. And Ng kind of responds in like a carefree way. I was like, yeah, that's my personality. Like I talk to females. I talk to males, females. I'm just a chatty guy pretty much. And Corona still wasn't satisfied with that answer, kind of to pry a little bit more. And he's like, is that all you're doing? And that you got a shift change from Ng, showing you wanted some personality, you wanted some emotion.
He's
He
getting
showed it. He immediately became defensive, and he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have done nothing to be accused of doing anything. He starts cussing. The carefree casual guy is throwing out f bombs, and like I was completely shocked
it
because
was
I
shocking.
thought he would have just brushed it off and like, nah, that's not what I
Yeah.
do.
Right.
This is this girl. We're friends. Blah blah. But nah, he took it. He took it there, um, and that of course rubbed Corona the wrong way. Um, Again, because she wasn't trying to take it to that far. She just wanted to bring that up to his attention, have a nice conversation about it, and move on. That wasn't the case. Ng was stuck on it. He had his conversations with the producer saying, like, this is kind of BS. Like, I'm being accused of something that I haven't done. And you kind of see Ng for, his his other side. And
Yeah.
some of these other characters have an other sides that we're gonna get into as well. But he kept his rage in a little bit better than some other people, Josh.
I
but
know. Oh
but yeah,
God. We'll
that's
get
kind of
there.
how they ended. She ended up walking out of him at the dinner, and as you see in the previews for the next episode, we get to see more of what that conversation leads up to.
Yeah. Gonna take a time to say what's up, Charles Walker. Thanks for tuning in. Um, yeah, I agree, Big Nige. But the thing that spoke to me with NG's defensive behavior, sometimes that is a red flag. Nobody likes to be questioned or accused of something, but when you go that hot, there may be a little something there, that you don't want uncovered. So I say Corona, though she is extremely annoying, and I think that she's trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Angie is not the marrying type. She's not going to get, I feel like, my opinion, she's not getting what she's looking for in Angie. So she has made a ton of sacrifices. He's been kind of flippant about the relationship. And so it's not looking good for them. But like I said, we're getting ready to this season is gonna wrap up. So I think we have two more episodes after yeah, 2 more weeks before they'll do a tell-all. So we'll have to see. I have heard some tea in these social media streets, but I will reserve that for the last recap we do before the tell-all. So I'm going to keep that to myself and under wraps. Now you're going to have to keep coming back so you can find out what I know. But we are now going to go over to Tata and James. But before I kick it over to Big Nige, let me just say this, y'all. James has got to learn how to take a little spice, child. He cannot get it in Indonesia. I don't know, like, I could make a joke, I'm not, but I'm going to say this. I have never had Indonesian food. I like a little spice, a little something, and I like my food very, very seasoned. But the way that he is handling the Indonesian spice, child, listen, ain't no way. He needs to. I don't see how he's gonna make it. And they love watching him squirm. And then he tries some new dish that smells like rotted flesh, child. It couldn't be me. But James is really going through it with the cuisine in Indonesia. Y'all, I got a kick out of that. I mean, he don't have a poker face. That man can't do it. But let's get into where they're going as a couple, the things that they faced in the last two episodes. Big Nines, what you got?
Yeah, so for Daughter of the Bride, episode 16, so obviously, so James and Tata, they had a pretty prominent role in both episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously this is your favorite couple. These two episodes are definitely ones you don't want to
For you?
miss.
Yep.
But touching on the subject of food, episode 16 kicks off with um, James and Tata meeting her parents to try out some food for the wedding. And I think there's about 4 dishes, 3, 4 dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And again, James and Tata's father are continue to kind of go back and forth on the budget. You know, they want a small wedding. Tata's father wants a big wedding.
Yeah.
They only want to pick one dish to serve because of pricing. He says get two of them. Some people might not like this dish, so get two of them just to be on the safe side.
Mm-hmm.
All that costs money, and so there's that little divide there. But then another bombshell has to get dropped at the food tasting venue. He is like we go back to a conversation that James had with Tata. You need to tell my parents about your indecisiveness with kids.
Yeah.
Right? And that was something that when we talk about James and all the times I've said he's been terrible at keeping his promises, this is the first time, crazy that this is the first time he wants to keep his word.
Yeah.
Of all times, of all people, especially
Yeah.
the man you promised to give a kid for. Hey, so he breaks it down to him. He kind of uses Tata to translate, obviously, since he still does not know the language fluently. And he
Right.
pretty much is like, so how would you guys feel if I wasn't sure I wanted to have kids? And for lack of better terms, Tata's mom and dad basically said, like, we want you to have kids. We think it'll be great for your marriage. Um, it's good luck, for good fortune, all these things, basically for their culture. This is what a happy marriage leads to. It's kids.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, he just said flat out said he doesn't want kids. Um, the mom says a marriage and a wedding without kids is empty. And that's very telling. That's kind of feeling like peer pressure at this point. It's one thing to want something of your daughter, of your, you know, kids, but at the same time, it's like if he says he doesn't want kids, sometimes you just gotta take a man for his word.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I know James is the last person you want to take for his word, but I think for this thing, he's standing 10 toes on. So
Oh yeah.
we'll, we'll have to see. They finally come to a conclusion. It's like, okay, wait until you're ready. Still holding out hope that he'll have kids, but they did kind of alleviate some of his concerns when they said when you're financially stable, wait until you're ready, then have a kid. Still
Hmm.
telling them what to do, but giving them a little kind of a wiggle room to maybe do it on their own terms.
Right.
That's kind of how Daughter of Bride ended with James and Tata. Did you have anything else before I kind of dived into Donna Mia for James and Tata?
No, only thing that I would add is, I felt like the parents were kind of placating them, like, okay, yeah, I get it. You want to be financially together before you have kids. Kind of like they made the mention that, like, James, like, I'm sure they're off it for now, but it's definitely going to come back up. They are not off it. I mean, that's just how the culture is. The parents are very hands on, particularly her father. Yeah. So I don't think we've heard the last of requests for grandbabies, but and I thought it was a really not a good time for James to tell them while they're food tasting for a wedding that, oh, by the way, that promise I made you about those grandkids, that's not gonna happen. But child, that's him. I think it was also convenient he let her translate because that was kind of a cowardly way to also do it, and she carefully translated that too. I don't know if you caught that, T. She kind of softened it a little bit, but
Oh yeah.
nonetheless, they know now. It's out there. So let's get to the second part of what happened with James and Tata.
So going into the second part, Donna Mia, it's a day before the wedding, and Tata's siblings are coming into town. More specifically, her sister. Now, you know, my co-host right here definitely mentioned that um, James went and tried some food that smelled like rotten flesh, tasted like rotten flesh. We understand that if it smells bad to me, I ain't touching it with a
No, that's
10
where
mile
I draw the line.
10
Yeah,
radius fork. But
yeah, yeah. We do stinking.
we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. We understand we get some background on Tata's sister, how close they were prior to James taking her, marrying her, and everything of that sort. Um, Tata was going into detail, eat, sleep, shower together. Like they cannot, you can obviously tell they were very close.
Yeah,
But something had happened where basically, because we do get to see her sister Angel, we get both sides of this story. So James kind of breaks it down as like after me and Tata got together and we got married, these false rumors were being spread about me, saying that I mistreated women as James. And obviously, that's not the greatest thing you want to hear, especially when Angel told that to her father to get to convince them to like basically not let Tata be with James.
yeah,
Um, and so that was definitely a lot to unpack there. So we got James' side of things, then we get Angel's side of things, where she basically admits to spreading those rumors because she openly admits she does not trust James. She dived more into how they met. They met on Instagram. They had like a few conversations. They met one time and got married. And I don't really blame her for not trusting James. I mean, to James's defense, they've been married for 3 years. So he
yeah.
even asked her, he's like, "Hey, I've been together 3 years. She doesn't look broken. She's in one piece. She's still your sister. Like, do I get some slack now? Am I still uh, mistreating women?" Well, if faces could tell, I mean, because they like to hide stuff well, but they were just arguing, crying, all this. So if Angel would
Yeah,
have seen that, she would have had more to argue with. But
more kidding.
for the sake of her sister, she is like, I love you, Tata. I do not trust James. And that's pretty much how this goes. with them. It's kind of an awkward meeting for them. It's conversations are kind of one sided. So there's not much else to unpack there. Obviously, we understand that this is big news, especially you get to look the person in their eyes who made false rumors about you, and they confirmed that they were false rumors.
Yeah.
You just can't take that and just sit down with it. But I mean, if you're James, it's kind of what you have. You gotta have to do it. You're rolling with a lot of punches, and I'm surprised he held his tongue as best as he did. As much as he likes to go back and forth, it could have been worse, honestly.
Oh yeah. I think James is basically starting to get a little beat down in Indonesia. I mean, his one ally would have been or should be Tata. And Tata is, she's here for all things by any means necessary staying in Indonesia. So um giving him a lifeline at all kind of is not in the foreseeable future because her fear is that any little thing else and he's on the first thing smoking back to the United States and wanting her to go. So she's kind of not being his teammate. That's what he was looking for, and she's kind of leaving him out there. So I feel like at this point James is kind of beat down. And a lot of things that I've been reading, with the fans, they are so sick of every time we see Tata, there's tears. And I just, I don't see, I think some of it is lack of maturity because when she's around her family, she goes right back into baby mode. But it is crazy. I'm wondering, is it like something with her hormones or something? Because I literally, you would have seen this. I would think he would have seen this in the States, but she is just extremely unhappy. So I don't have a lot of hope for James and Tata at all, unless he wakes up one day, decides he wants to make some babies and call Indonesia home and doesn't question her again and wakes up fluent in Indonesian. That would be it. I don't see it for him, but there's that. All right, guys. So we're gonna close the evening with our last couple, Josh and Lily, and let's just say they have had quite a couple of episodes. Their lack of communication. This time, there's some talking that's been done, and Lily's daughter Vivian has entered the chat. So, Big Nige, take us home with Josh and Lily.
Ooh, yeah, y'all gonna have to bear with me for this one. This is a lot of information, so I'm gonna try to sum it up as best as I can. I strongly suggest you go watch both of these episodes to
Oh
get the
yeah,
full story that I'm about to tell you. What happened between Josh, Lily, Josh's brother Jared, and Lily's daughter Vivian. A
Vivian.
lot
Yeah,
to unpack, so I'll do my best. So pretty much that the episode starts with you have Josh and his brother Jared. They go shopping. He wants to take him around China, do some shopping, bring some stuff back to the States, that whole jazz. With that, we also get Vivian and Lily. They're kind of hanging out, spending some time together before the ultimate tumultuous dinner that I'll get on in just shortly.
yeah,
But, they catch up, they start gossiping. I'm talking about Lily and her daughter Vivian, and we kind of already understand, and we knew this from before that Vivian does not like Josh,
no,
right? Just straight up out the jump. We didn't understand why until this episode. So apparently, well, she doesn't believe that Josh values her mother. He apparently Josh posted a profile picture on this app called WeChat with a Vietnamese woman who he claimed was a friend who passed away. And this was very convenient. And this is more going to be brought all up again in the dinner. Um, but Lily asked him pretty much like, why did you post it? He kind of avoided the question. And pretty much the daughter just took the initiative and blocked him on her phone.
yeah.
Um, and like,
That was gangster.
I that was just wow to me. So we kind of get a little bit of the background there, and Lily kind of tries to quell her daughter, like, don't be afraid to ask questions, but understand that I love this man, and we are moving past it. The daughter ain't going for none of that. So let's fast forward to the dinner, the tumultuous dinner,
Yeah,
where they break down. So basically, Vivian kind of starts questioning Josh. They ask him how their time was at shopping, and they're like, "Yeah, we got all these nice things." And Josh was showing Lily, And Vivian gets straight to the point. So, do you do you like China or do you like my mother? Like let's really get into it.
That's it.
And I thought Josh was just like, well, clearly I love your mother. And I was like, okay. Put her little detective hat back on. It's like, okay. Didn't I was not a fan of the dog at the dinner table. That's number one.
Oh, that was
Number
gross. Yeah.
two, but number
Rolex.
two, then she asked him about the situation with the Vietnamese woman. She did her detective research and actually reached out, and yeah, that was a real woman. It wasn't a friend that passed away. That was a real woman, which caused Josh to kind of play on defense and was like, well, since we're getting into it, yes, me and your mom were off and on. So um I had briefly dated this woman, all this, that, and the third. But he said it was because Lily had gone in and started talking with somebody else.
Yeah.
So now he's playing the deflect game, and Vivian's not going for it. She basically continues to like pester him and hound him. And we start to see a side of Josh who his brother did allude to in the previous episodes.
He did.
Josh has a tendency to basically lash out. And what Vivian deduced from the situation was Josh is he's a gaslighter. And there's a couple more details that I'm definitely glossing over because it is a lot of information.
Oh yeah,
But
we're
the
just gonna give
but,
the highlights.
but the main thing you want to know is obviously that dinner went as bad as it could have gone. Josh lashes out. He even lashes out at his brother, tells him like, you need to fall back. This is a conversation between me and my wife. You don't need to butt in. And he even told Vivian to her face, I don't care what she has to say.
I
This is
know.
me and my wife in my
I
marriage.
know.
I'm going to address this. He even told his brother, I don't have a relationship with her.
I know. I thought
Speaking
that was
about
bad.
Vivian. And I was like, Josh, my
Yeah,
brother, like what is going on? Like
that
he
was
is
bad.
lashing out. We are seeing the angry side of Josh that you wouldn't expect because he's just like a kind of mild tempered, you know, a little passive aggressive, but he's not. He doesn't
Yeah,
seem he has that, but he showed his colors,
he did.
and that's how the first episode really ended. Um, did you have any rebuttal before I finished out for the second episode, or
No, that pretty much was what it was. I mean, rightfully so. Vivian was questioning him. His deflection came in. I will say it was a little bit crazy how Lily defended herself about how he said, well, she kept the text and she tried to play it off as if she was journaling. And I just like romantic things. I was like, now Lily, just own it, sis. If you was still talking to homeboy, because you basically said, you would have gave him a chance if your boy hadn't have begged you back. And so let's be clear. Let's don't be crazy because you're still winning. I mean, he deceived you by saying this woman was somebody that was deceased, only to come and play on words. Oh, she's dead to me. Josh, you are a whole clown for that. Yeah, his true colors are coming out. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. I hope Lily understands enough English to understand that he bears a watching. But I digress. Let's hear how it ended up.
and before I touch on this on the last episode, I'm going to say that Lily basically ended the episode by saying, Josh, we need to really think if we still want to keep or cancel the wedding. So I thought
Yes.
that was a good bit of information to lead
Yes.
off on as I get into the final episode.
Yes.
So then Lily and Vivian it looks like they're at a market and they're
Yeah.
talking about the dinner. Basically, Vivian asks if Lily still wants to marry Josh. Lily doesn't really have an answer. Again, very telling because the wedding is really close. So if
It's
you're
literal
having
day.
doubts now, that ain't looking too good. But Lily did say she felt better because get a kick out of this. Josh's brother wrote Lily saying Josh admits to his mistakes and he will bravely face them on, like he's some kind of hero or something. Number one, why is your brother reaching out on your behalf to begin with? I understand you might be upset with her and she might be upset with you, but your brother shouldn't be playing the middleman. That's ridiculous. Um,
Absolutely.
and then Vivian continues to kind of pry, asks about the last time they were intimate together. It's been 7 months. and he still has not been intimate with her since he's been in China. And I remember in the first couple episodes when he touched down, he was like, I'm tired. I don't really feel good. Copping out as many chances that he can get to basically just avoid that part of the relationship. And I thought it was maybe just some, you know, being a little jet lagged and adjusting the times, but like, yeah, that was surprising to me. Um, and it pretty much it speaks about the relationship in its totality. Um, Josh just seems like a man with empty promises and a lot of passive aggressive comments. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Lily basically ends the episode again, basically saying she wants an apology. Will Josh actually apologize? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be the apology that she wants to hear. And it does allude to it in the previews of the next episode, but we'll touch on that more on that next episode.
Yeah,
But Josh and Lily, y'all, they're in the struggle, and I
they
don't
are.
see a solution. There's too many language barriers, breach of trust, a lot of lack of accountability, promises not being kept. It's just not good, man. And I
No,
don't see a way for them to fix this.
no, it's too many red flags. You heard it here first. This is an opinion. I haven't heard this in the social media streets, but I low key think Josh is maybe putting his attention elsewhere. I think that he is there. He likes China. He likes the lifestyle, but I don't think he's fully in it with Lily. And she doesn't help with the bringing up of money. That can cause a man to feel emasculated. But all in all, I don't think that Josh's intentions are all that great. I'm gonna have to give some credence to what Vivian has said and her, the things that she has brought to the light. He does bear watching. He's been dishonest before. She's not sure that he's that into her mom. Like she said, does he love China or does he love Lily? We're gonna have to keep tuning in, y'all, and see. Is Lily gonna decide that no matter what, this ain't for her, even though I know she doesn't want another failed marriage, but she keeps saying she doesn't feel loved, y'all. And 7 months, I can see why. So that's the episodes, guys. I hope you've enjoyed our recap. Come back with us next Wednesday as we do another one for the episode that will air this coming Monday. Keep tuning in, y'all. We're almost to the end. And like I said, I got some tea for you. So you're going to hang in there with us so we can tell you um, our opinions on what we think will happen with the couples and kind of what's kind of out there in them streets. So again, I want to give Big Nige a quick second to plug his channel, Goatcast Podcast, and then we're going to bid you guys a good night.
Yep. So of course I am Big Nige, the co-host of the Goatcast podcast, where me and my other co-host CW, where we talk about basketball topics, both past, present, and future. The NBA season is back, officially started yesterday, so we got a lot of fresh content coming for you guys. We have live streams every Tuesday around 7:30. Pull up, weigh in the comments, give us likes. A subscription would be great as well. And yeah, we got some stuff good for y'all. So please like, subscribe, and we appreciate your views.
All right, guys. So yeah, like you said, if you are into NBA, WNBA, all things basketball, that's the channel you need to go check them out. Goatcast Podcast. They have a lot of good content. So guys, that's all we got for you. Come back next Wednesday. And before that, come join me this week. We're going to drop a recap of the latest episode of Love is Blind. If you are watching, and why would you not? Because it's just so good. Come back, be looking out for that. Me and Bria will be breaking down the latest on Love is Blind, y'all. And then we start all over again. Mondays, Bravo Mondays. We'll be back for 90 Day, and we have some exciting interviews that are about to drop. So just keep on coming back to Legend. Actually, good stuff over here. All right, guys, we love you. Good night, and thanks for watching. Bye.